Inside the Aichi Gymnasium, all of the competitors you will see during our show tonight have qualified from the all-around, including the world champion of a year ago. There she is, Svetlana Boginskaya.
And Svetlana will be showing us her winning vault. This is not her best event. However, it was good enough to bring home the gold here. She'll be doing a full twisting, laid out Yurchenko, excellent push, and just a small step on the landing.
At the Goodwill game, she said she was going to retire. We asked her, why didn't you retire?
Well, of course, I had been thinking about retiring from gymnastics, but then I thought I probably could still do pretty well and be competitive.
For Boginskaya, being competitive means more gold medals. Tim, if the vault was not her best event and she won it, this is one of her better events as she goes to the balance beam.
And she is wonderful on the balance beam. Beautiful sense of theatrics throughout this entire exercise. Her acrobatic sequence there, back handspring to 2 back layout step out. Flawless. Those skills, of course, leaps, a requirement on the balance beam as well. Now this skill is also a requirement. You have to do a skill down close to the beam. That fulfills that requirement. She has very quick, very almost spasmodic-like movements with her arms at times. A distinctive style to her own. Another requirement there, a full turn on one leg. Well, she's working marvelously thus far. No apparent deductions whatsoever. Her dismount, a round-off double back, and oh boy, she just rivets that landing.
Remember what she said, I think I can stay competitive. She certainly can.
Well, let's take a look, Jim, at just how competitive she is. Here's her dismount, a double back, excellent push off the beam. The only small deduction is her legs are a little bit straddled there, but look at the landing. Nails it cold.
A small deduction is all she got, Tim. A 9-9 from the judges. And so they're asking in Nagoya the same question they've been asking around the world for many years. Who can catch Svetlana Boginskaya? Back to Nagoya in the Aichi Gymnasium in a moment. This is young Henrietta Onodi of Hungary trying to catch the 9-9 set up for everyone to try to catch by Boginskaya, but 16 years old.
Oh, a small break right from the start. Here's a beautiful scale position. Certainly is a tall bill to fill. A 9-9 is no easy score to match, let alone beat. Oh, but that is wonderful. That is her own skill. An Arabian dive roll. And she does what's called a mounter out of it. Beautiful combination there, using both dance and acrobatic elements. These balance beam routines are between 70 and 90 seconds long. They must be that duration. She has a lot of unique combinations and elements in this routine. Very animated exercise. Nice element right on the end of the beam. She must complete her dismount here. A round off, triple full. Oh, doesn't quite get it around. Has to take a little bit of a stumble at the end there and doesn't quite finish the twist completely, Jim. Let's take a look at one of her acrobatic movements. That's a back handspring step out into a back layout step out. Done very well.
Henrietta Onodi of Hungary gets a 9-8 from the judges, 1/10 of a point behind the world champion. And now here's yet another Soviet. This is Tatiana Lysenko, only 15 years old and a real comer.
She is amazing. This girl has some power, that is for sure. thing that is so impressive about the Soviets is they just keep turning out the gymnasts. They're so young, and yes, they're powerful, but they're also beautiful dancers. The extension of the legs and the toes, wonderful. That skill called a front aerial. Now watch this. This is amazing. A back dive to a handstand and just explodes in the air.
It may be apples and oranges, Tim, but it's like Penn State with linebackers. When you speak of gymnasts, where do the Soviets get them all?
It is remarkable. They just have such a wealth of talent in that country. Like you said, this girl, 15 years old. And look at the level of accomplishment already. Beautiful use of the arms. A wonderful aesthetic sense on the balance beam. Dismount, a round off, double back. Oh, and just a little bit of a stumble on the landing, but beyond that, oh, fabulous job.
At Barcelona time, you'll hear the name Tatiana Lysenko, barring an injury.
She is so powerful, so explosive. Look at the height off the beam. Once again, just a slight straddle in the air, and of course, the small step on the landing.
The score for Tatiana, 9.775. That'll give her the bronze to take back to the Ukraine. Boginskaya, the Soviet, 9-9. The world champion wins it. Onodi of Hungary is second and gets the silver. And now let us move over to the men. And here's yet another Soviet, Alexander Kolyakov. Aichi Gymnasium in Nagoya, and on the inside of this gymnasium is Svetlana Boginskaya, who Tim has scratched from the uneven bars. She is pulled out. So we'll go to our first competitor, Jia Guo, from the mainland of China.
And she is remarkable on this event. Elbows so extended. Watch this here. That skill right there called a Voronin. She is the first woman I've ever seen perform that skill on the uneven bars. Of course, done first on the men's high bar. That skill also called a reverse hecht or Takachev. Beautiful full pirouette and a double back. Just a small hop on the landing.
Little Jia Guo, 16 years old, from Changsha on the mainland.
So dynamic on this event. And her elbows and arms so extended, so straight. Beautiful reverse hecht. Swings right back to the handstand. That skill right there, a full pirouette, and she went right into her dismount.
And her score, 9.850. This is Kyoko Seo. She's just a bullet train ride away from up in Tokyo, 18 years old. First time we've seen her tonight.
Hard to believe that that faces an 18-year-old gymnast, isn't it, Jim?
Looks awfully young.
Well, small mistake right from the start, Jim. When she jumped up on the bars, you noticed her legs were a little bit apart. We're noticing the Japanese are doing some dynamic gymnastics. Beautiful front flip, way in the air. They just don't seem to have the polish quite yet. Like right there, wonderful Takachev, that reverse hex skill. But you notice that the toes aren't too extended. But wow, full twisting double somersault, actually called a Sukahara, named after her coach, as a matter of fact, right there, a former great gymnast, Mitsu Sukahara. Let's watch her release skill. This is a front flip way in the air, but the leg form not as tight as it needs to be in this level competition.
Her score, Tim, 9.825. That puts her behind Jia Guo of China in second place. But here comes yet another Soviet, that 15-year-old Tatiana Lysenko, a favorite for 1992 and a favorite in this event, especially since Boginskaya has scratched.
She is so outstanding on this event. Perfectly straight arms. Beautiful Ginger right there. Now watch this. Another front flip way in the air. You'll notice the girls have to move from one bar to another. They're allowed only to do 4 moves in a row on one bar and then have to switch to the other bar. Watch this dismount. Double front with a half twist, and she nails it.
Tatiana Lysenko, who was a 1990 World Cup champion.
This exercise is so difficult. Look at this. Beautiful front flip way in the air. Leg and toe form as extended as can be. skill called a free hip right to the handstand. And like I said, you have to change from bar to bar.
Lysenko gets a 9.850, and that ties her with Zhao Guo of China. And the next two are tied. Onodi of Hungary and Sei of Japan tied at 9.825. Very close. Coming up next from Nagoya, Japan, will be the men's high bar. But now from Nagoya, let's go to Atlanta and Ernie Johnson. Our get to be this big and flower in many different colors. It's amazing. And so is this young girl inside the Aichi Gymnasium. Young Kyoko, she already has a medal as we join the women's floor exercises.
She does a very difficult mount. Full twisting double somersault. Excellent power on the floor exercise. Her movement's very quick, very deliberate. A lot of playful theatrics in this routine, but maybe not quite enough of the basic or classical ballet or dance training. That takes a little bit of time to develop. Her second major tumbling pass done very well. The whip through to a double pike. A combination. She just doesn't seem to be as comfortable when she's dancing as when she's tumbling, and that's what makes the Soviets and some of the Chinese gymnasts really stand out. Yeah, they tumble great, but they also dance equally as well. She's thinking about only an acrobatic pass here. Her dismount, double back somersault, beautifully done, way in the air. Excellent job.
Kyoko Seo, we can't get over the fact she is 18 years old. She looks much younger, and she's looking for a medal in the floor exercise.
As I said throughout this routine, tumbling is not the problem. Beautiful whip through to a double back in the pike position, and a good landing.
Her score, 9.825. From Tempe, Arizona, age 16, Elisabeth Crandall, in her first ever major international competition. Preparing for the floor, we ask her about her floor routine.
It's a kind of a new routine, but I'm very confident with it because I practiced a lot of them before the meet, and I had done so many that I wasn't really nervous about the meet.
And this is her routine in the floor exercise.
She has a very different style in her routine. Almost an Egyptian-looking style. Very lively and energetic. Right into a full twisting back handspring there. Crisp, sharp movement. We'll look at her tumbling pass here. This is a full and a half twisting somersault right through to a double back. Extremely difficult. Just a little bit too much of what we call cowboying in gymnastics, the straddling of the legs during that double somersault. But a very difficult pass. As I said, a very different style. Dismount here, a round off back handspring, double somersault once again. She needs a lot of height, and she gets it. Good job for Elisabeth.
She said she was very confident about this routine, but you've got to be nervous, Tim, when you have your first ever international competition such as the Chunichi Cup.
Oh, she walks out on the floor, and I can guarantee you her heart is beating a little faster than normal. It better be, though, to do a tumbling pass like this. 1.5 twist through to a double back somersault. A lot going on.
Do not know whether or not her score will be good enough to get a medal. 9.750 for Elisabeth Crandall of Tempe, Arizona. Next up, Boginskaya, the world champion. We ask her, what does a world champion think about as she's about to take the floor?
Well, usually I try not to think about anything at all. I try not to think about gymnastics.
Well, Jim, I have to tell you, when I was doing the sport, I like to think about exactly what I was doing. I think the point she was trying to make is it's almost ingrained exactly what she'll do the second she steps out on the floor like that. A full in, back out in the pike position. Done wonderfully.
Already has 1 gold medal here in the Chunichi Cup and looking for number 2.
Svetlana has outstanding use of her arms and hands in this exercise. She uses them to accent all of her movements. Many have said she's brought the artistic element back to the sport of women's gymnastics. Her second pass, a full and a half, through to a double full. Watch this, changes direction, does a punch front right out of it. So expressive on the floor exercise. Paints a picture with her body. Her dismount, a double back somersault. Beautiful height and a great landing. Fabulous routine.
Magnificent, but not unexpected. After all, she was a silver medalist in Seoul in the 1988 Olympic Games.
Let's take a look at her dismount again. A round-off back handspring, double back somersault. Not only is she graceful, but athletic as well.
The highest score of the Chunichi meet thus far, 9.925 for Svetlana Boginskaya, the world champion. She takes the gold medal. Lysenko, the 15-year-old, also from the Soviet Union, is second, and Sale of Japan is third. Elisabeth Crandall finished 6th. When we come back, the strength of the gymnastics, the rings,